All right, so this is probably just gonna be a short video for you, kind of a last minute thing. I'm probably not gonna make any more videos until the races. So this is probably gonna be your last view before I show any racing videos. But for today, I'm just gonna kind of throw this quick video together. And what this is gonna be testing. Every saw, all of them. Everything I'm taking to the races plus some. Everything dialed in, the final tweaks, you know. So it's going to be every single one of the saws. Some of them are, some of them could use some adjustments or tweaks or whatever. And we'll go over that here at the end of the video. But for now, I'm just going to throw up some footage. This is not all the footage that I recorded. I'm only showing you some of it. I did some side-by-side comparisons and all that stuff for myself. I'm not going to put all of that stuff up just because it could turn into a kind of video that I don't want it to be, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going to basically throw you some clips up of some testing, and then I'll just kind of run down what we're taking and, you know, some tweaks that I could have made, but I ran out of time on. So, alrighty, so here you go. I just want to interrupt this video just for a quick moment here. I just switched everything that I'm taking to Moto Milk, and I'm gonna have to tune them. Alrighty, let me show you. Let me explain. All right, so Bodie hooked me up with a quarter Moto Milk, and I figured, you know, let's go ahead and put it in all the saws that we're taking. So here's 4 of them. And there's 2 over there on that shelf. But yeah, I'm gonna have to tune them. So before, basically the best tune for pretty much everything that I have is to have just a slight amount of 4-stroke on the top end. Not a crazy amount, you know what I mean? But for the most speed, I definitely want to have a touch of 4-stroke on the top end. What I'm talking about is on a free rev. You know, you free rev it and get a little bit of that 4-stroke pop on the free rev. Just a little, not a whole lot. And now that they're on the Moto Milk, so what I did is I just drained the tank, filled them all up, fired them up, you know, revved them for a little bit here, and I sat them down and let them idle for a few minutes just to get a good, you know, wash of the cylinder and everything, and free revved them some more and all that. So probably a good 5 minutes of running on each one with the Moto Milk, and there's a difference because that 4-stroke pretty much vanished on almost everything. It's still there, but just the tiniest little bit. So it basically, they're running a little bit leaner. I'm running the same mix though, I didn't change. So 3 ounces per gallon is what I typically run with my Red Armor. So I'm running the Moto Milk at 3 ounces per gallon, which is, you know, roughly 40 to 1. It's not quite though, it's closer to like 40, I think it's closer to like 44 or something like that to 1. I think it's 3.1 ounces per gallon or 3.2 ounces per gallon for 40 to 1 or something like that. And I'm just running a straight 3 ounces per gallon. But yeah, the tune is different. They're a touch leaner. And that could cause me to lose a little bit of torque. So I'm gonna have to do a quick test on all of them. It's probably gonna take less than a quarter of a turn to get them to tune up, but yeah. And the funny thing is this home light. Boy, did that guy like the Moto Milk. You could tell, or I could tell instantly. It's got, the snap is better. You know, the throttle response, all that stuff has improved. And it's got this crack now to the exhaust that you're like, yep, that thing's hot. You know what I mean? So the home light definitely, obviously, took to the Moto Milk way more than the rest of them. So, yeah, but there's these 4. There's 2 372 clones, which I can only run one of them. I got two there. The Husky 5000, the home light, and these two are both like 65cc saws. They're both set up as well. The Stihl 036 and the Poulan there. So, yep, they're all on Moto Milk now. Now, you're going to get to see the 395 in this video, but it's not going. I'm talking about the oil pump on this video, and I've talked about it on other videos, how it's not working properly. And I pulled it apart, and here she's fried. She completely ate itself. It destroyed the worm gear, everything. So, I mean, I'm leaving in 2 days, so there's no way that I'm, you know, getting an oil pump in time. So, the 395 is going to have to stay at home until that's fixed. That's all right, though, because the home light's faster. You know what I mean? The only one I got left to play with here is Bellhopper's, the alcohol saw. So, I just got to put my fuel oil mix. So, I don't know. I just want to make sure it's good to go. You know what I mean? So, back to the video. But all this cutting you're seeing on this video is before the swap to Moto Milk. And you'll have to wait to see how she does at the races. All right? So basically the quick rundown is We'll start with the 50cc saws. One's the Husky 5000, and the other is I call it the Husky 5000. It's a Husqvarna 50 with a Partner 5000 top M, and then the other one is an actual Partner 5000. The Partner 5000 is running on methanol though, and the difference between those two saws is that the Husky Husky 5000, that one is built a lot hotter of a pork job. A lot hotter. Like, I don't even know if I could get more out of it. I've really, pushed that one pretty much to its limits. The one thing I have noticed lately, though, is that saw used to show a lot of signs of getting hot, and lately it hasn't done it. And the best I can figure is that at one point in time the carburetor went bad, and since I replaced the carburetor, all those symptoms went away. So I'm guessing that those symptoms were carburetor related, because it hasn't done it in a while. So, hey, great, you know what I mean? Now the Partner 5000, the alcohol build, it's like a mellow pork job with alcohol thrown in it, which kind of brought it up to like a hotter ported gas saw. And the Partner 5000 is nowhere close to being done. Not even close. I'm having a lot of trouble with it right now. When I went to start it, I bet you it took me 20 minutes to get it started. It's carburetor related. So I might just leave that one here and run the Husky 5000 in both of those classes. It's probably going to come in last or close to it for the unlimited class, but the Partner is it's having a lot of issues, and it's not even close to being done. So what else did we do here? The 65cc saws, I have my pick between the Briscoe 036 and my Poulan Pro. There is not much difference between those two saws. One is just a tiny bit of faster than the other, and it is small, and it's small enough that it could have been me. Like, I could have been the reason it did that. So I'm going to say those two saws are pretty evenly matched, so I'm going to take one, and I might even take both, one for a backup or something. But yeah, they both run about the same speed, and I'm just going to pick one, and I'm going to run it at the races. Next up would be my two 372s. The difference between those, the one's a Neotech clone and the other one's a Holzwarmer clone. The Neotech I have an 8-pin on, and the Holzwarmer I have a 7-pin on, and you can tell in the video. The Neotech gets it loses RPM more, and if I would change that one out to a 7-pin, it would probably pick up pretty decent amount. Because right now the Holzwarmer is outrunning the Neotech by a tiny margin. And I'm pretty certain if I would drop the Neotech to a 7-pin, that would probably flip-flop. So I don't know what I'm going to do there. My plan is to run the Holzwarmer, so I probably will. It's just, I do have that option though. I could run either. There wouldn't be a whole lot of difference between the two, but it is what it is. The other one, the big debatable one, is my larger class, which is the Homelite. It's an 870 that I ported up. It has basically a mismatch of parts from saws of different years to find all just the right combination of parts with the port job and everything to make it run like this. You're not going to find one, buy it off the shelf and build it typically to get it to perform like this. It's different parts from different years put together. The optimum part from this year, the optimum part from this year, all this stuff put together to make it run like this, and I threw a port job on it. So this is not something that can be easily duplicated unless you have several like 925s and all sorts of these larger displacement Homelites. You have to have several of them to where you can pull all the parts and kind of do this kind of a build. But I did some testing on it, and the Holzwarmer 395, it is a base gasket delete port job, and I had been planning on taking it But through this testing, I'm realizing that the Homelite is actually faster than the 395, which is kind of surprising, you know. It is a base gasket delete port job, so it could be faster if I would get in there and do some more work. But as of right now, the Homelite is obviously faster. I can feel it in the cut, the way it feels and everything. I can tell you it is definitely going to be faster. So I think we probably are going to go ahead and run the Homelite in the 6 cube class. The other thing is the 395. It's such a fresh build on a brand new saw that every time I start it, which I've started it, 4 or 5 times now to run it and test on it. Every time I've started it, the tune needed to be adjusted. It was rich, which is, the engine, the rings receding, all that stuff. It's common for that. And I'd rather not take something that once I get to the starting line, it ends up being rich and slow. You know what I mean? I'd rather have something that's a little closer to broke in. So I'm planning on taking the Homelite to run in that class. So, I mean, it's outrunning a base gasket delete port job on a 395. And, I did a video on showing it. And, Bodie was doing some testing on it. And it outran that 390, which I don't know if that 390 was ported. I think it was, but I'm not 100% certain. And then there's also put it up against the 500i. And I don't know if the 500i was ported or not. But just by taking it to the 7-pin, I bet you it would keep up that 500i a lot more. It beat the 390, and I bet you it would be really close to the 500i at this point. So, out of all my saws right now for that class, basically my best options are basically my 385, the Homelite, or the 395, and I think I'm just going to run the Homelite. It will not come in first place. We might get taken out in the first series of races. It's a bracket race, by the way, and there's no loser's bracket. So if you lose on your first race, then you're out. But if you win, then you move to the next bracket. You win that, you move to the next bracket. It's one of those styles of races. And some people will have a loser's bracket that if you lose, you get to jump over to the loser's bracket and battle your way through that. They don't have enough wood to do that, so it's just going to be the one bracket. But, there's a chance I get knocked out early, but I'm going to run it. I think out of everything here right now, and it'll probably be the one that surprises the most people. You know what I mean? Now, whenever I had my event and, Buddy was comparing it to the 390 and the 500i and stuff, it was running an 8-pin sprocket, and now it's on a 7-pin. And you can see on the video how much of a difference throwing it on the 7-pin made. So, those results would be better. Like from the event to today, there's been some changes. Like the Husky 5000 and the Partner 5000 both have new chains. So at my event, I had, old chains that were sharpened probably too many times, and they weren't, up to par, not by a long shot. And now the chains are flawless. You know what I mean? So there's a bit of a difference in the that cutting footage I showed you. I also did some side-by-side comparisons. And I wanted to see how powerful my saws were compared to some other stuff. And, and that's the stuff I'm not showing you. Because this video would turn into one of those videos that I don't want it to be about. I don't want it to be comparing to builders or anything like that. That's not what this is about. So we're just basically making this video as like, this is what I'm taking to the races. They're all done, they're all ready, and as far as the final lineup, it's going to be the Husky 5000 in the 50cc class. Or 50cc class, it's going to be up to me to battle my way up. So it should do pretty well, or half decent. The question's going to be me. The saw runs really well. I've done some behind the scenes, comparisons and stuff. It should do very well, but it's up to me. I got to make sure I do well. In the 50cc class, it's always my worst run because it's the first run of the day, you know, and there's no real warm up or anything. It's just go, So we'll see how that goes. The 65cc stuff, I got 2 saws to pick from. I might take them both. I might just take one. We'll see. And then, which that's the 4 cube. So the 50cc is your 3 cube. The 65cc is the 4 cube. The next one up is the 5 cube, which is going to be the 372 builds. And they're a little smaller in displacement than what you can run in the 5 cube. But, I got my pick between 2 of those. I wish I could run the Homelite in that class. The cutoff point in CC is 81.9 CC. That's the top limit of the 5 cube class, and that saw is at 82.1. So it is 2/10 of a CC over that on that class. So just to give you an idea how close it is. So I have to run it in the 6 cube class, which it's the Homelite versus the 395s. And I don't expect it. I mean, there's a lot of 395s out there that are built way faster than what I'm running. So I don't expect it to come out on top at all. But, you could end up getting lined up on your first race with one of the fastest ones there and get knocked out immediately. You know what I mean? Or if you get lined up with one of the slower guys there, then, your chances of moving up to the next bracket are improved. So you never know how it's going to turn out. You might race once, you might race several times. So it should be fun though. It's going to be a bracket style race, and I've not done a bracket style race for chainsaws. So these are the types of races I'm really into. I'd rather do the bracket style race than the clock, racing the clock. So, it's more fun to me. The only other one I haven't spoke about is the Unlimited 5 cube, which is going to be Bellhopper's 372. And you've seen it cutting there with the race chain setup that I put on. The race chain, I need to make another one. So the raker depth is too deep by a significant amount, and it really pulls way too hard, and it puts a lot of work on the saw and everything. Really robs RPM. The thing is, I'm not going to have time to make another one of these chains, so I'm going to have to run that chain, and in time I will make another one. I mean, this is the first time I've made one of these race chains, and it's definitely way faster than what a normal chain is. It's just the raker depth's a little deep, so I need to do it all over again and do it with a higher raker. That way, it runs and performs properly. So, the Bellhopper 372 though is ready to go. We just, the chain ain't perfect. It's a little too hungry. Bellhopper was working on my 372 clone for this class. I don't know how far he's got, but I do know he ran into an issue and kind of had to start over. He had it all together, was firing it, was tuning it, and the pipe broke the flange where it bolts on to the cylinder, and they used to say it was pretty bad. He might have to start all over from scratch with the other cylinder, so he may not get it done, but time will tell. I need to get a home and see, but I mean, we're good for the races regardless. It's just I need to call them and check in on them and see how things are going. But yeah, everything is good to go. It's just that 3 cube Unlimited class really that is the only one I'm disappointed in. The only reason I'm disappointed is because my actual intentions were to have that saw a lot closer to finished. I was planning on having it running nitromethane, poured it up even harder than what it is, and really screaming. It's just I ran into some issues, and I had to, make some changes or fix a lot of stuff. We had to basically build the saw again a second time, a lot of extra stuff, and it is what it is though. So yeah, hey, I hope you enjoyed this one though. Later.